Hey guys, before we get into this one, I just want to let you know, I am super sick as of recording this. I've had a bad cold over the past couple days, and I'm still recovering from it. If you hear me cough or sniffle at any point during the video, I do apologize. I'll have music and stuff in the background, and I'll be talking, so hopefully you won't be able to notice, but if you do, I'm very sorry. If you think about it, we've actually gone full circle, because the Gen 1 video originally, I was also sick, so you know what, maybe it's for a reason, who knows. But yeah, so this is the penultimate episode of ranking every Pokemon ever. We've done all 9 generations, plus Megas and Gigantamax evolutions and all that stuff. And now, we're at my bottom 106 Pokemon ever. From all 9 videos, every Pokemon that was in the not a fan tier, every Pokemon that was in the bad tier, all of them are back. Some of them probably didn't deserve to be in those tiers, which is a good segue. I've divided it into weirder tiers because obviously I can't do best of the best and great for the Pokemon I don't like. So the tiers I have this time are the doesn't deserve to be here tier, which are Pokemon that I've probably judged too harshly, and probably could be in the neutral or even good tier with some of them. The almost gets a pass, which is just the doesn't deserve to be here tier, except for it's not quite they're not all forgiven. These Pokemon get a pass, but I still don't like them, these Pokemon are flawed enough for me to not like them, but they also probably shouldn't be here. So that's why they almost get a pass, because I don't like them, but they almost slip through the cracks as being okay. Underwhelming, which is Pokemon that are just overall disappointing, Pokemon that I don't like, but at the same time I don't really hate or anything. And then we also have the hasn't clicked tier, which if you've seen any of the videos before, you probably know what that is. It's a very specific tier that I'll talk about when I get to it. And then there's a couple random tiers for certain Pokemon in between these. And then we get to the big bad ones with the slight dislike tier, which are Pokemon that I don't like at all, but I don't hate them yet. They're kind of I don't like you very much, rather than ew, you're awful kind of thing. Then we have the straight up dislike tier, which are Pokemon that I just do not like. And then of course the final tier is the hate tier. These 8 Pokemon, top 8 plus 2 from the dislike tier will make up the top 10. Are Pokemon that, as you could probably guess, I hate. I don't know how you were able to guess that. I guess you're just really smart. But yeah, those Pokemon are irredeemably bad, and I do not like them. And there's 105. I thought it was 106, not gonna lie. 105 Pokemon in the not a fan tier and bad tier across the whole series. So obviously this is technically the bottom 105, but for, to draw people in, it's going to be the bottom 100. If you just want to see my bottom 10 Pokemon, in the next week or so, I'm just going to do just the bottom 10 Pokemon as a little spin-off thing. Maybe as a short, if I can make it short enough, although thinking about it, probably not. So yeah, if you just want to see the bottom 10, go to that video. I'll talk about why I don't like them, blah, blah, blah. But if you want to see the big, juicy details, I'm assuming this video is going to be 40 minutes long. Sorry about that. This is the right place. I'm talking about every Pokemon I've ever called bad and why I don't like them. And I'm going to go tier by tier, obviously, because these tiers are a bit weirder. I am also going to number each Pokemon. So from 105 to 1, except for a couple in the underwhelming tier, because there was a lot in the underwhelming tier, I will be giving the number after every Pokemon I say, so you know how low it ranks on my every Pokemon ever list, basically. And with that, I think that we should just jump right in. I'm sure you've been looking at it. I don't know how I'm going to edit this video yet. I'm thinking about doing one tier at a time, so it might look a little different than your usual video, but that's just to keep kind of suspense, as compared to just showing you all of it at once like I usually do. But now we're going to start off with the first tier, which is the doesn't deserve to be here tier. These are Pokemon that I've given a hard time for one reason or another, but I don't think they should be in my bottom 100 kind of thing. And the first 5 I talk about are the 5 that just barely avoided my bottom 100 list, starting with Regigigas. I thought Slow Start was enough of a reason to hate this Pokemon, but I actually think it's kind of a cool design and a great legendary because it's like the king of the Reggies. You know, it's normal, but like we can look past that. And you know, just because it has one ability that kind of sucks doesn't ruin the whole Pokemon, which is kind of something that I kind of thought of before. And since you can change this one with like Mummy or Grafaiai and stuff, unlike a Pokemon we'll talk about later, it actually kind of makes Regigigas good in certain situations. And because of this, it's actually usable at certain points if you get lucky enough. So I think it has a cool design, good stats, it's a cool legendary, and there's ways to get rid of Slow Start, which is the only thing I don't like about it. So yeah, I would argue that this Pokemon actually deserves to be in the good tier. And now we're on to 104, Tapu Bulu. Kind of the same thing as Regigigas, mainly that it's a legendary and it probably gets a pass. Tapu Bulu is not so much if it gets destroyed by like a move or an ability. Tapu Bulu's I just don't like the design that much, but especially compared to the rest of the designs on this list, the bottom 103 below Tapu Bulu, Tapu Bulu doesn't have like a terrible design or anything. At most it's like lackluster, so I'd probably move him up to neutral if anything now. But it has a good stats, typing, move pool, all the stuff you would expect from a legendary. And, you know, it doesn't deserve to be called bad or anything. It's Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu is cool enough to get a pass, in my books anyway. 103 is Greedent. By far one of the Pokemon I judged the most harshly because this thing is really cute. I'm sorry. I know it's a regional rodent. I know they're everywhere. But I think, despite everything, Greedent is incredibly cute. And maybe it's just because I have like a thing for squirrels. I know many people just see squirrels as like ugly, mean, random chipmunks kind of thing. I actually quite like squirrels. I think they're actually quite endearing in a weird way. So yeah, the fat squirrel with the big puffy cheeks, I actually quite like a bit. I think that it can have fun strats in battle with like Cheek Pouch and Oranberry and all that stuff. And it's definitely leagues better than like a Watchog or a Gumshoos or even some other rodents. Like I think I like it more than Diggersby and Bibarel. Sorry, Bidoof fans. You know, I think that Greedent is actually one of the better regional rodents, which is even more surprising. I put it this low in the Gen 8 video. I really don't know what I was thinking. Alright, moving on to 102 is Grumpig. And Grumpig is a Pokemon that even when I did the Gen 3 video, I knew shouldn't have been ranked that low. Grumpig was basically in between the lines of the neutral and not a fan tier, but I put it in not a fan tier to make the video a little more interesting, you know, have a little more to talk about. Looking back on it, Grumpig is actually probably a neutral Pokemon. I don't love it, but I don't really hate it. It's like the definition of neutral for me is Grumpig. Like, I just look at it and I'm like, yep, that's Grumpig, and then I don't have any other feelings about it. So yeah, that's honestly all I have to talk about Grumpig. So we're going to move on to 101, and the last Pokemon to evade the bottom 100 is Farfetch'd, actually. And it's kind of the same thing as Grumpig, except for not really. I don't know why I wrote that on the script. With Farfetch'd, I think it actually kind of has a cool design, and especially with things like Galarian Farfetch'd and Surfetch'd, I like it a lot more. It's not the worst design in the world. I mean, it's just a bird, but like we've had way worse Pokemon designs in the past. And actually, I really like the name. I think it's pretty fun, the whole Farfetch'd, and how in Japan it's far-fetched to see a duck hold a leek. That's the name origin, by the way, if you didn't know that. And that's actually pretty fun and pretty awesome, and also punny. I do like my puns. But yeah, I think that, you know, it's pretty fun, actually. Farfetch'd gets a bad rap from me and other people, but I think, you know, it's actually pretty cool. And now we're on the bottom 100. Still Pokemon that get a pass, but if we wanted to round up to 100, these would be in the bottom 100. Starting from number 100, Woobat. I mean, it's cute. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it, which is probably why it's so low. But honestly, I have nothing negative to say about Woobat. It's just kind of a thing. I mean, it is just like worse Zubat, because it just goes to Swoobat, and Swoobat doesn't evolve anything cool like Crobat. Because Zubat, you have Golbat, which is kind of, as you'll see later, and then Crobat, which is pretty awesome. So, you know, when you get a Zubat, you're like, oh, I can use this as a Crobat, that's kind of cool. When you get a Woobat, you're just like, what do I get with this? Swoobat? No, ew, it's cute, okay? I'll give it a pass, just because it's cute. Number 99 is Sandy Shocks, and this is a fast turnaround for Pokemon. If you saw the Gen 9 video, which was the most recent one, as of when this goes out, Sandy Shocks I don't like. I think it's the worst Paradox Pokemon. I probably like it more than like Iron Hugulus and Brute Bonnet now. So probably somewhere in like the good or neutral tier if we did the Gen 9 video again. Still doesn't make any damn sense to me, which does make me not like it a lot. But you know what? The design is fun. I do like the design, despite the fact it makes absolutely no sense. I do like how it walks on big magnets and has like old filings on it. It's a coolish design. And besides, it's a Paradox Pokemon, which basically gets a baseline of coolness. Because, honestly, Paradox Pokemon are one of the coolest things Pokemon's done in terms of creature designs in the recent generations. Number 98 is Drampa. It's underwhelming for a dragon, which is the reason I put it in the not a fan tier before. But, I mean, it's still a dragon at the end of the day. It still has a baseline of cool. And I think that the whole thing where, like, it like sticks up for kids that are bullied, and then if you, like, piss it off, it'll burn down your house. Which that, you know, that is something a dragon would do. So, I'm sorry, Drampa. I take it back. You are a little dragon-like. Still do not love you because you are kind of a weird design. But you know what? I'll give you a pass too. And then 97 Brion. It's a mediocre middle stage starter. There are a lot worse, but there's also a lot better. Not like a lot better, because all middle stage starters are at least a little lame, unless you're like Ivysaur or Bayleaf's cool. Grovile's really cool. I'm just thinking of like Marshtomp's pretty good. Yeah, so there's a lot of middle stage starters I actually like, just going through it in my head. But Brion is like whatever, it's mediocre. But I actually think it has a really good personality. Like a lot of middle stage starters like Grotle are like ugly abominations that like deserve nothing and no happiness and don't have any personality. Brion has a super personality. It's like a clown, little dress seal thing that practices with bubbles. You know, it has a cool personality, and you know what? I think I've judged Brion too harshly. Number 96 is Galarian Meowth. I think I'm just upset with Galarian Meowth because it came out when it did. It came out right after Gen 7 when we had a Alolan Meowth, and after Meowth got in a Gigantamax form. Neither of those guys I'm a big fan of. But Galarian Meowth I actually think is the best of the three by a landslide. The whole Viking thing is cool. I think the reason I just can't say I love it is because of how many Meowths we had before it. The other two are complete garbage, and this one is like gold, but since it came after the complete garbages, I didn't want to give it a chance. But I think the whole Viking thing is really cool. I really like Berserker, actually. And actually, in my Sword playthrough, I was trying to get a perfect home deck, so I just caught them all again in a new Sword playthrough like a while ago. I actually got a shiny one, a shiny Galarian Meowth, and I was very happy about that. I don't remember what it's called, not even gonna lie to you, but it was like this cool tan original Meowth colored Galarian Meowth, which was actually pretty cool in my opinion. Next up is Mankey, number 95. It's just a fun little guy. I don't know what else I can say. I think it's honestly just Gen 1 nostalgia that makes me not think as poorly of this Pokemon. Because, like, yeah, some of the points I made in the original video, it has a weird design. Some of the sprites from, like, Gen 1 are kind of awful. But it's just a little monkey guy. I mean, I don't like monkeys. I'm not going to lie. That's a theme you'll see later. And it's not my favorite design by any means. But he's a fun little guy. I don't really hate Mankey. And with that, I think that we can move on to the almost gets a pass tier. These are the guys that, as I've mentioned before, almost get a pass, but for one reason or another, I don't think I can quite give a full pardon to. Starting with number 94, Lumineon, who is absolutely abysmal in battle. And I know a lot of people really don't like Lumineon, and I was one of those people for a while, but looking back on Lumineon, it's just a fish. And honestly, the fish is kind of pretty, I'm not going to lie. Finneon is obviously a lot prettier, but Lumineon is kind of like, in its own way, really pretty for a fish. And that kind of makes it stand out to me. It's still forgettable as all hell and completely useless in battle. But you know what? Its prettiness alone makes me not hate it as much. But it is still awful, so I don't like it a whole lot. Number 93 is Galarian Zapdos. Another opinion that is kind of controversial. I just still doesn't click with me. I know I said this in the original Gen 8 video, but there's just something about the design that I can't put my finger on that I just don't like. And I was gonna give it a pass here, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Because still, there's something about Galarian Zapdos that I don't like, and I don't know, honestly, what it is. So yeah, it's gonna end up in the almost gets a pass, because I want to give it a pass, but like something in my brain says, no, you will not give this thing a pass, because you don't like it. And I'm like, okay, I guess. It has a good design and everything, I just don't like it. I'm sure you guys have Pokemon and things in real life that are just like that, where you just don't like it, even though you can admit how cool it is. And then number 92 is Galarian Mr. Mime. It's still Mr. Mime. I'm not at all a big fan of Mr. Mime, as you'll see later. But this is just like better Mr. Mime. It's kind of like cool tap dance Mr. Mime. And Mr. Rhyme is awesome. I love Mr. Rhyme. So like, if it's just better Mr. Mime, then yeah, you'll almost get a pass. But like, you still have that Mr. Mime DNA in you that makes me not like you. So I don't know. It doesn't get a full pardon from me. Number 91 is Espathra, and I actually have to go blow my nose real quick. Give me 1 second. Alright, I'm back. I really freaking hate being sick. But yeah, number 91 is Espathra, which I kind of agree with my previous points. It's kind of dumb Lady Gaga bird. You know, it's kind of weird looking, bad design, not great in battle. You know, all the things that I usually don't like about Pokemon. But I actually kind of like it a little bit more. Basically because since that last video, I found a shiny Flittle in Scarlet and Violet while I was completing the Pokedex, and I used that thing forever. It was one of the only Pokemon that I actually EV trained. If you saw my Academy Ace tournament video, I showed all those guys off briefly. And Minty Espathra made more sense when it was a Flittle. I love the shiny, I'm not going to lie, the whole black aesthetic of the wings instead of the yellow looks great. But we're not talking about shiny Pokemon, at least not yet. But yeah, I really like the shiny. I got a perfect EV, and I'm sure I could IV train it if I ever picked up that game again, which there's no reason to right now, unless DLC comes out sometime soon. But yeah, it's just really grown on me. The Lady Gaga bird really has grown on me since I started using one. But you know what? It is still kind of a weird design, so I can't give it a full pass. Next up, 90, Mime Jr. Mime Jr. isn't a whole lot different from the rest of the babies on this list, and trust me, there's a lot of them. It's completely pointless, it's a dumb, stupid baby, it's unnecessary, it's dumb, it's forgettable. You know, all the stuff that I hate about baby Pokemon, but it's kind of cute, I'm not gonna lie. This is probably, aside from like Pichu, and I would say Cleffa too, probably the cutest baby Pokemon we've ever had. And honestly, Mr. Mime is not the worst choice for a baby Pokemon they've ever had. Like, I might like Cleffa more as a design, but I would almost say that Mime Jr. was more necessary for Mr. Mime than Cleffa was for Clefairy, because at the time Mr. Mime didn't have an evolution, and I don't know what you would do with regular Mr. Mime for an evolution, so I didn't hate that they actually gave Mr. Mime a baby Pokemon. And it's cute enough for me to give it almost a pass, but you know what, it's still a dumb baby at the end of the day, so what can you do? And for 89, and the last Pokemon in this tier, we have Crabominable, which is a very, very ugly crab, man. He's ugly as hell. Honestly, terrible design, even I'll admit that. Like, what's with the paw print hand things? But I really liked using him on my original Sun team back in 2016 when the game came out. Yeah, he was, I really liked Crabrawler, and you got him early in the game, so he kind of stuck with my party the whole time. Then by the time we got to the league and he evolved, I really liked my Crabrawler, and so I really grew to Crabominable. So despite the fact I can admit this design is atrocious, I still kind of like Crabominable. I'm not gonna lie, he's kind of a cool guy in my opinion. And with that, we probably go into the biggest tier in the video, which I'm going to break up into categories to start with, and then kind of go over individual ones after. This is the underwhelming tier, which is Pokemon 88 through 56. And I'm going to group some of these together, like I've already said. And I was going to say something else, but I'm not going to lie. Being sick, my brain isn't working to its full extent. So let's just get right into it. The first category we're going to loop these guys in is the ugly ones. We have, starting with Krugly, which is in the name, ugly. Simisear, which is an abomination. Golbat, which is one of the Pokemon that Gen 1 does not give a pass to. Gumshoos, which is one of the most annoying Pokemon in any game ever because of how frequent it was in Sun and Moon. Wormadam, which I just don't know why or how they made Wormadam a thing. It is so bad and so pointless. And then, a more convenient tier for me to do is the middle stage Pokemon. As I've mentioned before, I'm not huge on middle stage Pokemon. So Pokemon like Quilava, Braixen, Hakamo'o, Lombre, Gloom, Togetic, Clang, Trumbeak, Palpitoad, Gothorita, Girder, and Palmo, who barely changes from Palmy, by the way, are all just bad Pokemon because they're ugly and they're unnecessary. Like, if we're going to Gothorita, for example, why can't we just go from Gothita to Gothitelle? Why do we need Gothorita? If we're going to Lotad, one of my favorite Pokemon, why do we need Lombre? Couldn't we just go from Lotad to Ludicolo? Like, these are just kind of unnecessary and atrociously ugly middle stages that I just don't like. And now, for the rest of them, aside from the next four I'm going to talk about, they're all going to be individual, so I'll go back to saying the number and then what Pokemon they are. But first, before we do that, let's go through the Cocoons, which there are 4 of them: Kakuna, Metapod, Cascoon, and Silcoon. And I just don't care about them. I've mentioned this both in the Gen 3 and the Gen 1 video, but these are just like the worst of the worst Pokemon. Because if you don't make me feel anything at all aside from disappointment, then I'm not going to like you. These are literally the definition of a middle stage Pokemon, a pointless Pokemon that you only use to get to the final stage. Nobody's favorite Pokemon is Metapod or Kakuna or Cascoon. Who likes Cascoon at all? Nobody. Nobody likes Silcoon. Nobody likes Cascoon. It's just like, why? It's like the most unnecessary Pokemon that have ever existed, in my opinion. Alright, let's do the rest individually now, starting with 88 Celesteela. And while most of the Ultra Beast designs are off, Celesteela in particular is like especially off to me. It's just something about the design of being like a bamboo rocket ship lady big thing that I just don't like. And it's kind of like Inhuman, but like not in a cool way. Like Xurkitree and Blacephalon are Inhuman, but I like those ones because they have cool designs. Why would I like a rocket ship bamboo lady if it brings nothing cool to the table? I don't, is the answer. And the design is just like a mess overall too. Like, what is even going on with like the arms and the body and the face? And I don't know, it's a lot. I'm also sorry that I'm like voice cracking every other word, because trust me, I hear it. And trust me, a part of me really wants to refilm this when I'm not sick, but I'm already 22 minutes in. We're not stopping. We're going all the way through, baby. Alright, number 85 is Shiinotic. This one's just kind of creepy and not in a good way. I'm sure you've all seen the Markiplier Smash or Baz video, which is honestly where this creepiness really like hit all-time new for me, because the eyes and like the deceased body of the Jigglypuff it's growing out of are just like really unsettling and like not a good way. Like, I don't want this thing anywhere near me at all, or anybody I love, because it'll probably kill him with those soulless eyes. Just like, no thanks. Go home, please, Mr. Mushroom. I don't want you here. Go home. You're ugly. Is a weird way of explaining it. 82 is Ducklet, which is boring, generic, bad name, you know, all the bad stuff. It's just Ducklet. Why do I care about Ducklet? It's just a Ducklet. Like, that's so uncreative. And I know many Gen 5 Pokemon are called uncreative, like, I don't know, Gothita, or Clang, or Klinklang, or Electric and Electros. You know, those are all called uncreative Pokemon. Ducklet is on a whole nother level. Like, Clang being 2 gears is like, God, that's like an S tier Pokemon compared to Ducklet. Ducklet! Why? There was no creativity that came with that name. But at the same time, it's cute, which is something I cannot say about Swanna. And trust me, we'll get there. But Ducklet, it's just so unoriginal. I just can't stand it. And honestly, thinking about it now, probably should have been lower. And 78, Cleffa, Pokemon I already talked about. I don't like babies. And this is one of the most unnecessary ones, because Clefairy, as well as like Jigglypuff, didn't really need baby Pokemon. I would almost argue Pikachu didn't need it either, but I mean, I get it, it's the mascot, you probably want a baby Pokemon. But Cleffa is cute, but if that's all I can give it, then that's all I can give it. It is awful in battle, because it's a baby. It's a dumb, stupid baby with bad stats, a bad design, and doesn't need to exist. Whatever. And Clefable deserved better. Clefable should have got a form, or an alternate evolution, like a Gloom Blossom situation, or just like Clefable's the middle stage and get like a cool spaceship Clefairy thing going on. I don't know. You could have done so much more than Cleffa. 77 and 76 is Volby and Illumise, Pokemon that have been shit on plenty of times in the past. They're forgettable, they're bland, they're terrible, no Evo, you've heard it all before. They're just like whatever Pokemon, but because of how oversaturated the hate is for them, and how kind of like bland they are, I really don't hate them as much as some of the other guys lower down on the list. So like, yeah, they're underwhelming to me, but they're not like the worst abominations in the world. Number 75 is Houndstone, one of the most disappointing evolutions in all of Pokemon. Not only because it doesn't change like whatsoever, and also that it has kind of a weird design. It's just like a bigger Greavard with like skeleton hands that just make it look worse. It's just the disappointment that led up to it, because I explained this in the Gen 9 video, but I saw a thumbnail with Annihilate in it, and I thought that that was the final Greavard evolution. So when I evolved a Greavard in the game, and I saw Houndstone, I was like, oh, this must be the middle stage, can't wait for it to evolve again. Only to find out that that was the final stage makes me very sad, because in my eyes, I saw Houndstone as a middle evolution, and then it just stayed as the final evolution, and now I just don't like it. I'm sorry, it has like, I was going to say it has an okay design, but no, I don't like the design either. So like, yeah, Houndstone's kind of bad in my opinion. 74 is Hisuian Avalugg. For me, when a regional form fails, is when it's just worse than the original. And Hisuian Avalugg is straight up worse than the original, which makes me not like it as a Pokemon, because it failed the one point of regional forms to make the Pokemon cooler or different or anything but what Hisuian Avalugg did. It just made Avalugg dirty. It's just subjectively worse than regular Avalugg in battle because the typing is worse. Like, even with Alolan Meowth, who I can't stand as a design, has a reason to exist. It's a dark type cat that's mean and vicious. Cool, that's a cool inspiration. Dirty Avalugg? Why? You're worse than regular Avalugg, which makes me hate you. Moving on, 73 Happiny, it's just another dumb baby, whatever. 71 is Bombardier, which is just like really, really goddamn bland for a new Pokemon. Like, I want the new Gen 9 Pokemon to be wow, exciting, extravagant. I'm gonna remember this Pokemon forever. I don't want Bombardier, just a dumb stork that drops bombs. I don't care. Give me Pokemon that I'll remember, whether I like them or hate them. Like, whether it's like Wiglet that I love, or Pawmot that I absolutely can't stand. Like, those both are in my mind because they're memorable. What am I going to remember about Bombardier? Nothing. That's what I'm going to remember. 65 is Chimecho, another hated Pokemon, and I kind of agree. It's dumb. It's just a little bell thing. I guess it's better than Chingling because it has a reason to exist. We'll get there, trust me. But it just has like a bad to mediocre design. Honestly, I'm going to say it's more mediocre than bad, which makes it bad because you're mediocre, if that makes any sense. As well as the fact it's terrible in battle, and, you know, all the other stuff, like, it has no good abilities, no moves, no nothing. So, like, there's no reason to use Chimecho at all. Like, honestly, the way I would say you improve Chimecho is A, give it a new form / evolution, or honestly just give it Revival Blessing, because Revival Blessing is one of the most broken moves in competitive battles, and I think only Rabskin and Pawmot get it, which when it gets released to older Pokemon, I would love to see Chimecho get it, because then Chimecho would have something going for it. And maybe like a new evolution too, instead of just Chingling, would also make it better. I don't know. I don't even know why I care so much. I just want to see Chimecho thrive, because it's like not the worst thing ever. That's why it's in the underwhelming tier. But like, I don't like it at the same time, so I can't say I care too much if it gets a new form, if that makes any sense at all. And finally for this tier, we have... oh boy. My throat's giving out on me, sorry. Finally for this tier, we have 56 unknown. I mean, it's just the alphabet, which doesn't give it an excuse for having a bad design. Because at the end of the day, it's 28 Pokemon, 26 letters and exclamation point and question mark, that are just eyeballs with letters. I'm sorry, I don't care about the alphabet. I want more creative creature designs than the alphabet. That's why I don't like unknown. It's harmless enough, but still, it's just the alphabet. And I don't like that as a design decision. Because you could have done so much cooler things. Like maybe an animal that, you know, has like, maybe if it's like a turtle. I've made a Figmon like this before. And it like has different symbols on its back, like hieroglyphics. And those are the ancient letters. So like you would find turtle shells around the place that would spell different things. Instead of just having unknown everywhere, who are unknown letters. I just, if I'm making any sense, cool. But I don't know, my brain's rambling at this point. Basically, I don't like unknown. Moving on. And these two get their own tier because I don't know where to put them. This is the monkey tier. And what happens in the monkey tier is we have two monkeys. Oranguru and Passimian, counterpart Pokemon that are very similar in design and concept. I don't like them. Mainly because, as I mentioned earlier, with the monkey Pokemon... Mankey, that's who it was. I kind of forgot, not gonna lie. I said I don't like monkeys that much. And these two are not an exception to that. They are essentially just monkeys with modern human smarts. Like Oranguru can throw Pokeballs and Passimian can play sports. Like, cool. I don't care. You're still a monkey. And they're not like the worst in the world. But honestly, they're not my favorite either, which is why they end up between the dislike tier and the underwhelming tiers. Because I don't think they're underwhelming. I think they're perfectly whelming, but I don't like them at the same time. So yeah, they end up here. And also, I'm reading the list. I knew there was something else I have. Oh yeah, that's what it was. They're just like everywhere. It's kind of like a Gumshoes or a Watchog situation, where in their respective generation, they're just everywhere. Every game since Sun and Moon, Oranguru, aside from like Let's Go and BSP, but you know what I mean. Every new generation of games, so Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet have had these two stupid monkeys in it, not only as Pokemon in the game, but as counterpart version exclusives. So like when I was trading, using trade codes to get all the exclusives in Scarlet and Violet, I was just thinking, why are you two back? We don't need you. We had you in Sword and Shield, we had you in Sun and Moon. Bring somebody like Minior back, or Blitzel back that haven't appeared in a mainline game in forever. Don't bring Oranguru and Passimian back, because I just won't care. And my dog's barking. Hold on. Alright, we're back, and hopefully the dog won't bark. We're going to move on to the next tier, which is the Hasn't Clicked tier, which I've talked about earlier. It's kind of a weird one. These 4 Pokemon are Pokemon that I don't hate. Well, I dislike them a certain amount, but I also don't like them. And these 4 are usually Pokemon that are kind of liked by people, some more than others. But for me, I just don't like them. Like, you could say Zapdos ends up here, but like, I see why people like Zapdos. That's like a whole weird situation with me. These 4, I know why I don't like them, but like, I should like them because they're pretty cool designs. These 4, obviously, number 53, Porygon 2, 52 is Riolu, 51 is Weavile, and 50 is Kyurem. And these Pokemon, as you can probably tell, are the ones that haven't clicked, with quotation marks around that. And for one reason or another, these Pokemon, these admittedly cool Pokemon, I don't like, because something about them doesn't sit right with me. Like, Porygon 2 is just kind of like a weird drinking swan design that I just never liked. Weavile, I think, is because I never liked Sneasel. Riolu is probably because it's a dumb baby version of Lucario. And Kyurem, I think, is just because it's ugly. So I think those are the main reasons I don't like them. But I feel like they just really haven't clicked with me at all. So, like, I think I should like these Pokemon at least a little bit, but I just don't, kind of thing. And now we get to move on to the true bottom 50, or 49, or whatever. because technically Kieran was 50, but that was technically in the haven't clicked tier. So all these Pokemon from number 49 to 1 are Pokemon I don't like. So you know all those positives I said about like, I trying to think of one in particular, but I couldn't. All those positives I said about Pokemon earlier in the video, well, throw those out the window, because we're going full negative from here, baby. So I think the next tier, the slightly disliked tier, is the Pokemon that would essentially be the true not a fan tier. So the Pokemon that I don't like, but I don't hate at the same time kind of thing. Yeah, I'll go a little bit quicker's the right word, on these guys, because, you know, there's a lot of them. So the quicker we go, the more Pokemon I get to talk about in under an hour, hopefully. Starting with Pelipper, who is ugly, and I hate the design. Need I say more? I will, actually. It's weirdly designed, because it's like a toilet bird, and like the toilet's also its stomach. Is it also its ass? Like, how does that even work? It's just like disproportionate. The eyes are weird. I don't know. I just don't like Pelipper. Plus, it's also in like every game. If you played Sword and Shield, you know Pelipper is everywhere in that game. Carnivine, despite my love for grass types, this one's never really clicked with me. It has kind of an off-putting design. It's really annoying in Legends Arceus, which is a game I put a lot of time into and still need to go back to 200% at some point. And also, it just doesn't evolve. For me, what throws Pokemon off from being good is that they just don't evolve. Because when a Pokemon evolves, I get to think of it as an evolution line, compared to when it's just a one-stage, like, Carnivine. It makes me think of it as just Carnivine, rather than, oh, hey, remember Houndour and Houndoom? Yeah, well, I don't like Houndour that much, but Houndoom's pretty cool. When it's just Carnivine, there's not much to, like, give it much props for, because it just stays Carnivine forever, this mediocre Pokemon, and I just don't like that about it. 47 is Umbreon, kind of a controversial one. I think Umbreon is very overrated, especially for the evolutions, group of very popular Pokemon. I just think the design's kind of bland, not gonna lie. It's just like all black with yellow rings. Like, I'm sorry, I just don't care, which I guess I'm kind of a hypocrite, because Espeon is one of my favorite Pokemon ever, who's arguably more bland, but there's something about that design, I think it's just like the colors that speak to me more, compared to Umbreon, where it's just like jet black, red eyes, yellow rings. You know, it's just kind of like an edgy evolution, which I, again, probably being a hypocrite, because I like a lot of edgy Pokemon, just never really cared for. So yeah, this is probably the one that people are gonna not like me for, but I don't like Umbreon. And also, Dark types is probably my least favorite type, so the Dark type evolution is probably not my favorite, not gonna lie. And 46 is Paris. Honestly, kind of the same things as Carnivine, with the off-putting design, annoying in Legends Arceus, and like the the overall vibe of Paris just isn't fun. I think it's mainly to do with the fact that Paris and Parasect are truly abysmal because of all their 4-time weaknesses and their terrible offensive typing. And yeah, not a lot of Paris sticks out to me. Number 45 is Zarude. I, once again, don't care for monkeys that much, but this one is kind of like a weird, forgotten mythical. Like, Zarude itself isn't the worst design in the world. Like, it's okay. It has a movie that I haven't seen yet. You know, it has enough love, but at the same time, who talks about Zarude? I rarely see anybody ever talk about it. And I bet you it's not anybody's favorite mythical. Sure isn't mine. Because it's just such a forgettable Pokemon. Like, it's the only mythical, I think. Is it the only mythical? Yeah, it is the only mythical of Gen 8. Which makes me think that they might be phasing them out. Which is, thank Christ, I hate mythicals. The fact that you have to go to an event in a store to get mythicals sucks so much. I hate it. I hate it with all of my heart. I mean, that's just like the introverted part of myself speaking. But yeah, Zarude itself kind of has like a whatever design. And it's kind of just forgettable in the gen it was introduced in, which is kind of a shame. 44 is Delibird. It certainly is Delibird. Don't really need much more detail there. 43 is Prinplup, which is ugly. This thing is a complete abomination. By far probably the worst starter middle stage evolution they've ever done. It is just like an atrociously awful design. To go from such a cute Pokemon in Piplup, probably one of the cutest Pokemon ever, to one of the most coolest badass Pokemon in Empoleon, who's probably one of the coolest starters ever, to have Prinplup, the worst starter of all of them, middle, first, second, probably the worst, in the middle, sucks. And it kind of ruins the whole line for me. I'm not going to lie. It does slightly make me like the Turtwig line more, despite me not caring for Grottle that much, because Prinplup is just an atrocious design. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know what else you want me to say. And then 42 is Mantike. It's a dumb baby, again, but this one's, like, not the worst baby design. The main reason I don't like it is because Mantine should have gotten evolution, first of all. And second of all, in every game that it's in, it's super annoying. In Sword and Shield, BDSP, it uses bounce, so you can't throw balls at it every other turn, but it's also slower than you, faster than you, so it's going to hit you, and then you're going to attack it and kill it, which is obnoxiously annoying to catch. Plus, it has, like, a pretty low catch rate, weirdly enough. And then in Legends Arceus, it's just kind of annoying because one of the requirements you have to hit it without being spotted, and they're very easy to spot you, which kind of sucks, not going to lie. 41 is Mr. Mime. I talked about this earlier with Galarian Mr. Mime, but it's just kind of, like, creepy and weird. I don't like the design of Mr. Mime, and yeah, that's really about it. Like, it's competent in battle and stuff. It's just kind of like a bad design overall. Number 40 is Alolan Meowth. Another Pokemon I talked about earlier, weirdly enough. It's just the worst regional evolution that I've ever seen. Aside from Avalugg, which I argue, despite having a better design, is a lamer regional evolution. Alolan Meowth, I just hate the design, which makes me hate it more than Hisui and Avalugg. It's just, like, off-putting. Like, it's just a sassy, dark cat, which I just, like, don't vibe with. It's kind of like a bitch, too. Like, in the anime, I remember it, like, going against Team Rocket's Meowth and it just being, like, an absolute asshole to, like, James and Jesse, which is not at all fun. And it's just kind of, like, bad in battle, too. Like, there's nothing going for Alolan Meowth that makes me like it at all. And number 39 is Kecleon. Weirdly enough, at one point, was my least favorite Pokemon. And this is kind of a weird story behind it. When I was playing Oras for the first time, my first ever Pokemon game, and I encountered a Kecleon, I had no idea what it was. And because of that, little brain me was like, I hate this thing. Ew, I want it to die. And, well, okay, maybe I didn't go that far. But there's a part of me that still kind of thinks that. But there's another part of me that, like, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just kind of, like, forgettable and bland. But I think it's just because of that childhood hatred of it. I mean, technically I'm still a child if you want to hit me with that card. But, like, my past hatred of it, that kind of makes it this low on the list. Like, it's inoffensive enough, but I just never really liked it that much. As I flip the page, we go to 38, Azurill, which is a dumb, stupid, fucking baby. I don't understand how many babies they're going to make, and I don't understand why you're surprised when you see a baby Pokemon on the list, because I don't like baby Pokemon. They are by far the worst thing Pokemon has ever done. And this one is even more offensive because it shows the worst part of babies, their whiny, crying attitude. Like, I don't care. Suck it up. I don't want my Pokemon to be constantly sad. I'm sorry, Azurill. I love the rest of your line. I adore Azumarill and Marill. But you suck so much because you're a dumb baby that cries all the time. And speaking of which, 37, Igglybuff. Dumb baby, abysmal design, unnecessary. But this one is even more ugly than the other ones because it looks like it has a tumor coming out of its head. And I'm sorry, Igglybuff, it's like a floating ball. It's like an oval. I don't understand why it looks like an egg. It's just such a bad design. And Jigglypuff is like a fan favorite Pokemon. It's in Smash Brothers. Wigglytuff is like a mediocre Pokemon. Igglybuff is atrocious. I hate Igglybuff with all of my passion. With all of my heart, I guess is the right word. Moving on from babies for a little bit. Combee, 36. 36 is Combee. Male Combee. Combee. No, Combee. Male Combee is one of the most annoying things that's ever occurred in any game. Honestly, even more than Salandit and Salazzle, because at least with Salazzle, it's like 50-50. Combee, it's like 15-75. And like, even though I think it's 25-75 actually. And even though it's that high of odds, I cannot ever find a female Combee, ever. I like usually have to catch a Vespiquen or get lucky on Wonder Trade or something when I'm completing the Pokedex in Gen 4. So male Combee really, really drags down Combee for me. 35, Unpheasant. You've heard this a million times. Unpheasant is the worst regional bird. Little to no redeeming factors. Ugly. It's another normal flying type. Shouldn't exist. There's so many cooler birds. Yeah, whatever. You've heard it all before. 34 is Patrat. Worst rodent. You've heard this all before. It's just kind of a bad design. And Watchog objectively is worse because it's bigger and a second stage, which was a chance for improvement for Patrat. But Patrat still sucks. I'm not even gonna lie. And then 33 is Sunkern, the last one of this tier. Sunkern is objectively the weakest Pokemon ever. It has the lowest stats, that and Sunflora, ever, which makes it completely unusable. And at the end of the day, it is just a sunflower seed, which is like, why? At least Sunflora, it can be at least somewhat pretty with its sunflower design. Sunkern is just like a dumb seed. I'm sorry, it's just kind of bad. Oh boy, okay. Oh my god, we're 45 minutes in. Oh no. Alright, let's keep moving and cruising. This was not the video to film when I was sick. I'm very sorry about this. Truly, I don't want to listen to this back, because I know I'm going to be sniffling and coughing and voice cracking the whole time. But the more I talk about it, the more time it's going to take. Let's get on to the dislike tier, which is obviously Pokemon that I don't like whatsoever. And we're going to start off with Smoochum. As I'm going to talk about pretty soon, actually, I really don't like Jinx. I think it's a racist, stupid Pokemon design from the early generations. But the fact you gave it a baby, because not only do I hate stupid babies, but I hate Jinx, why would I like Smoochum at all? Nothing about Smoochum is appealing to me, which makes it end up here. I guess I just like all the Pokemon below it less, I guess. 31 is Toxel. Dumb baby. Need I say more? No, but it's like an angry toddler. And toddlers, I went to a Super Bowl party, if you live in America, for football. Then I'm sure you saw the Super Bowl also. With some family friends, and there was a cute baby. I'll give you that. I've said in the past, I don't love babies, but that one was cute. So I know that babies can be cute. So when I see Pokemon like Toxel that show the worst parts of dumb, stupid babies, like it has a purple diaper on. Like, that's not the part of a baby I want to remember. I don't remember the cute face and the fact it plays with, like, little toys and shoe rings and stuff. I don't remember the whiny brat part of a baby and the diaper part. So I just don't like Toxel. 30 is Watchog. Talked about this earlier. Patrat and Watchog is the worst. Yes, even worse than Gumshoes and Greedent and all the other guys that are on this list. Watchog is complete dog shit. And I'm okay with saying that because I'm 45 minutes in the video and YouTube will not hunt me down for swearing. It just has an awful design. It's just a rat with a safety coat on. I'm sorry. Is that all you could think of? It's so bad and poorly designed. Like, they could have done so much better, honestly. But here's a fun fact about Watchog, sorry. The original thing that got me into Pokemon was my brother one day brought home a group of Pokemon cards from the Black and White era that his friend gave him. One of those Pokemon was a Watchog from, I think, Next Destinies. It was like a Patchhog. It's been a long recording, okay? A Watchog card where it's just like standing there. So I do have a soft spot for that card, but I hate the freaking design and everything else about Watchog. So yes, it is my 30th least favorite Pokemon. Oh boy. 29 is Muck. At the end of the day, it's just bigger Grimer, which is something that, if you remember from Houndstone, I don't like. And it's not a great design either. Grimer was never one of my favorite designs. I think it's kind of cute. But Muck is not cute, which makes me not like it, as the basic way of putting it. And even if you took away the whole bigger Grimer thing, if it was just a standalone Pokemon, you know, no cute Grimer to base it off, maybe it evolved into something else. At the end of the day, it's just sludge. I don't know what you want me to say. It's just a pile of goopy sludge. I don't have that strong an opinion on it. Well, I do. I don't like it. But, like, I don't know how you could love sludge. It's just sludge. Number 28 is Zeraora. And Zeraora does not look like a Pokemon to me. It looks like a Digimon. Which is when a Pokemon design fails. Because it looks like... It's not a bad design. I've heard people shit on this design before. And I actually kind of like it. I think it's kind of cool. The only problem is it doesn't look like a Pokemon. And that makes me really not like it. So yeah, I think the design is cool. But when your Pokemon looks like a Digimon, I don't like it. And number 27 is Knacklestack. By far one of the worst middle stage Pokemon I've ever done. It threw me off of the Knackley line entirely in Gen 9. I used a Knackley on my team. It evolved into Knacklestack. I kept it there for a bit. But with a combination of Knacklestack having a bad typing, a bad stats, and bad moveset, as well as having not a great design. Yeah, no, I booted that loser and replaced him with probably with like Charcadet or something cooler. So yeah, it's disappointing. It threw me off the whole line, and I don't like Knacklestack at the end of the day. Number 26 is Sneasel. Something's just kind of like off-putting to me about Sneasel. I get why people like it. It's kind of like a cool, quick, little weasel guy. But it's just kind of like a bland design, kind of similar to Umbreon actually. It's just kind of basic. It's just like this black little standing up mouse thing with a feather on its head. And it's also just frail. That it and Weavile are like some of the worst Pokemon for me to use. Because yes, they're very fast, and you can like Focus Sash them and like Ice Punch and probably get 2 off before you die. But I don't want my Pokemon to die in 2 hits. I want my Pokemon to live. I want my bulky boys who can like set up, like Toxic Spikes and Stealth Rock and Stockpile and all those guys. Or, like Pokemon like big dragons and stuff that can tank hits and do a lot of damage. I don't want a Pokemon that is just fast and hits hard. I want bulk, because at the end of the day, Sneasel will just die in 1 hit without a Focus Sash. So that already takes up your item slot. So if you're trying to use it on a team, yeah, good luck, because you're just going to have a 2-hit Pokemon on your team. You can't even take advantage of Eviolite either, because you're still going to die in 1 hit, because Sneasel's defenses are terrible, especially with its 4 times weakness to fighting. Oof. Alright, 25 is Thievul, which is just like one of the ugliest Pokemon I've ever seen. I know I've said that a lot, but it is true about this one. It's not as bad as Nickit, which is why it says high up. But Thievul, once again, not my favorite. 24 is Jolteon, another another controversial one, because it's another evolution. It almost has the same reasons as Umbreon, except for Umbreon, I get the appeal. Jolteon, I don't. So it's a Gen 1 Pokemon. So I feel like the only reason people like it is because it's Gen 1 Pokemon. Because it is a basic bitch Pokemon. And I know I like Diglett and Squirtle and Espeon and all those basic Pokemon. But this one, I feel like just because of how much love it gets from people, like you would ask people, what's your favorite evolution? They'd say Jolteon. What's your favorite Gen 1 Pokemon? They'd say Jolteon or Charizard, It's just so overrated. And for me, that really brings it down more than Umbreon. Because Umbreon is like moderately rated. Like, I think the design isn't great, but I see why people like it. And I'm like, okay, cool, Umbreon's your favorite Pokemon, I get it. Jolteon, I'm like, ew, no, come on, you could do better than that. It's just kind of like it's like a yellow dog with like lightning bolt. Like, what about it screams lightning? Like, it's lightning fast, but like, there's no lightning part about it. Like, it has static fur, but that's it. Jolteon doesn't have that much going for it. And I think it overshadows Vaporeon and Flareon, which are 2 of my favorite evolutions. Well, I guess I don't care that much for Vaporeon, but I like it more than Jolteon, to say the least. So I think it just overshadows the 2 better evolutions in Gen 1. And wow, that one is going to get me some hate. I know that. 23 is Bruxish. Brux-ish. We're going on an hour now. I'm sorry. Words are hard, and they're not coming out. Does anybody like Bruxish? Like, really? I know people are like, oh, I like Bruxish. That's a fun design. Do you? Do you really like Bruxish? Like, would you put it in your top 10 Pokemon? Would you put it in top 20? Like, no. It's a fish. It's a fish with an unnerving design and teeth. Nobody likes Bruxish. 22 is Cryogonal. Don't know what I'm looking at, and I don't want to know what I'm looking at. It's like a weird crying snowflake. Is it alive? Is it like a snowflake that came alive? Is it an animal? I don't know what I'm looking at, and I don't want to know, because Cryogonal is weird and ugly. 21 is Capsakid. It is a dumb pepper baby who is stupid and dumb. And now we have number 20, Parasect. Kind of the same thing as Paris, as I mentioned earlier. It's annoying in most of the games it's in. It's atrociously bad, and it's not my favorite design ever. What do you think about it now? We're on a bottom 20 Pokemon. Yippee, that's exciting. Number 19 is Tinkatink. It's a baby. I'm sure you saw that one coming. But not only is it a baby, it's a whiny toddler brat baby, which I don't like whatsoever. At least with Toxel, it looks like it just like took a shit in its pants and was proud of it and was like, clean my diaper now. This one's like, wah, I'm gonna whack you with my hammer because I hate you kind of thing. So I don't like Tinkatink. Not only is it a whiny brat baby, but I don't care for the design. I'm not gonna lie. I know people really like the Tinkatuff line. I don't like any of them that much. Tinkaton, the final one, is cool enough, but it's not like my favorite or anything. So being a dumb bratty baby to start off with doesn't help the line at all. And also the name is stupid as hell. Tink-a-Tink? You can do better than that. I know it's tinkering with like a baby, like tink-a-tink. Like that's what a baby would say. But it's just not a good name. I'm sorry. Number 16 is Why Not. I might have done this out of order because my script is weird. Did I do it out of order? Did I do it out of order? No, it's 18. I was right. 18 is Why Not. By far the most useless baby Pokemon we've ever had, which is saying a lot. It's not my least favorite baby Pokemon, but it's the most useless. That is mainly because Wobbuffet was made for a purpose. Wobbuffet is what we call a gimmick Pokemon. Why would you give a baby Pokemon to a gimmick Pokemon? Wobbuffet is supposed to be a punching bag. You hit it, it punches you back. It has no attacks. Why does Wobbuffet need a baby? It is by far the most useless and pointless Pokemon ever. Like, you did not need to make Why Not a thing. And I don't understand why you did. And it just makes me mad. Because you don't give a gimmick Pokemon a baby Pokemon. It just doesn't make sense. Number 17 is Flamigo. I do not like Flamigo. Kind of like a Ducklet thing. It's a little generic. I guess it's a little more creative than Ducklet. Because it's Flamigo, like Spanish word for friend. I get it. Very funny. But it's just a Flamigo. I just said that, didn't I? It's just a flamingo, not a Flamigo. I get that it looks like a boxing glove or whatever. I get it has its neck tied up to store its power. But, like, I don't care. It's a flamingo. I'm sorry. You gotta do more to impress me than just make a flamingo. And it's Gen 9 of everything. If this was like a Gen 2 Pokemon, I'd be like, fine, okay, it's a flamingo. I get it. But Gen 9? Really? Like, I may not like Tink-a-Tink, or I may not like Capsakid, or I hate Pawmot, but they have interesting designs. They are not Flamigo, who is a flamingo. Like, I expect more from this generation. Number 16 is Tranquil. I've talked about this earlier with Unpheasant. Although, just take everything I said about Unpheasant being the worst bird, generic, whatever, and just make it a bad middle stage starter with a bad shiny. And you get Tranquil. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Number 15 is Choodle. Disproportionate is what I have to say about this. The head to body ratio, plus the overall ugliness factor of this, really, really does not sit well with me. And I do not like it. In the words of Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls 2016 reboot, no me gusta. And yes, I did just say that. 14, Slacking. This is like Regigigas gone bad. Just like my throat right now, Jesus Christ. It has Truant as its ability, which is by far the worst ability in all of Pokemon, because it completely destroys this line of having any viable use. And unlike Regigigas, as far as I know, there is no way to remove Truant. Not with, like, what are the ability swaps, you know, Insomnia, or, what's it move? Worry Seed, that's what I'm trying to think of. If you use that, it just says it fails. So your Slacking is stuck being atrociously awful the entire battle. And that completely ruins the Pokemon for me, which is why I hate it so much. Moving on to number 13, we have Jinx. Jinx I've talked about earlier with Smoochum. It's racist Gen 1 Pokemon design, so it's Pokemon at its worst, really. I can't see any reason to like Jinx, because at the end of the day, it was made as a racist Pokemon. And I don't care how good the design is. If it is racist, I cannot support that at all. Number 12, we're almost to the bottom 10, yay. Number 12 is a Alolan Persian. It's the same as Choodle. Its head is disproportionate to the rest of its body. But it's also combined with one of my least favorite regional variants, being Alolan Meowth. So you take two negatives, and surprise, they make an even lower negative. So Alolan Persian, I do not like. It is my 12th least favorite Pokemon. And finally, before we get into the top 10, 11 is Nickit, which is the most ugly Pokemon I think they've ever made. This is an opinion I've had since Sword and Shield came out, and I got it on Christmas Eve 2019. I saw it, and I was like, this has to be the most ugly Pokemon I've ever seen. And, well, no. I've seen uglier now. That opinion just stuck with me. I do not like Nickit. I do not like Thievul. I think both of them are atrociously hideous. And people like the Nickit line, too, which is the worst part. I just do not see how people like the Nickit line, because at the end of the day, it's just an ugly fox. I just don't get the appeal. And now, we're on the bottom 10. If you were watching this as its own video, you should go watch the bottom 100, because I've talked about over an hour 105 Pokemon that you should go see, because I spent a long time on that video. But anyways, if you're watching the whole an hour long video, I do appreciate you. You are a very patient person. Honestly, I'd recommend just watching it in the background or something. But yeah, bottom 10. Starting with number 10, we have Fion. Fion is not a good Pokemon. It is very uncreative, very boring. It's pointless, which is the main reason I don't like it. Because not only is it a mythical, which I've mentioned before I don't like because you have to go to the store to get them, but it's just worse Manaphy objectively. And why would I like worse Manaphy? I don't. Because not only is it weaker in stat-wise, but the design is just objectively worse. It's just baby Manaphy, which it kind of breaks the whole thing of legendaries are special, you can only have one. Well, too bad. You can breed 1,000 Fions if you want. They're not special, and they're badly designed. So yeah, not only is it probably the worst mythical, but it's one of my least favorite Pokemon of all time. Number 9 is Tyrogue. Tyrogue is, as I've mentioned before, a dumb, stupid baby. I do not like dumb, stupid babies, because dumb, stupid baby Pokemon should not exist. Because they are pointless, dumb, and stupid. But worst of all, the design is absolutely terrible. It is like a pink guy who's like a football player in his official art. Like, I'm sorry, I don't get it. How does this evolve into Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan and whatever the hell Hitmontop's supposed to be? From a pink football player? Like, I'm sorry, what? The design is just so incoherent. Also, it has just like a pain. It's just a pain in the ass to evolve. I'm sorry. Like, you have to get the EVs perfectly even out to get him on top. Like, why? Why did you have to make it so annoying? Especially in older games when the Carbos and whatever else you need to raise the stats are just like so hard to get. Like, why? Why would you make it so hard to evolve? Number 8 is, as you can see, are in a tier of their own. So these Pokemon are truly, truly irredeemable, even more than the bottom 100 before it. Starting with number 8, Cosmoem. I've talked about Kakuna and Metapod and why I think dumb Cocoon Pokemon are stupid. But this is a dumb Cocoon legendary Pokemon, which makes it even more dumb and pointless. Still sick, which sucks. But, like, why do you need Cosmoem? I don't see why you can't just go from Cosmog to Lunala or Solgaleo, depending on the version. It's just, like, I don't see a reason for Cosmoem to exist. Not even in the story or the games does it make any sense. It's just it's like the peak of dumb, useless Pokemon that don't need to exist. And that's, yeah, it doesn't have, like, a bad design or anything, but I don't like it because it doesn't need to exist. Number 7 is Palmot. The most recent Pokemon in my top 10 least favorite. Palmot is weird. Palmot is disproportionate, which is what I've talked about in Choodle and all the other guys in the past. Palmot is kind of ugly, kind of creepy, but also trying to be cute, which is the worst part. So if it was, like, offensively ugly, I don't think I would hate it as much. But the fact it keeps, like, the cute small eyes from Palmy and Palmo, with, like, this atrocious body size, head size, and static hair size while it stands on 2 feet, is just, like, off-putting. Like, that thing is going to be in my nightmares before I make it my friend. And it's just, like, it's everything that could have gone wrong with a Palmy evolution went wrong. They should have just kept Palmy as Palmy and not had it evolve. Because it goes from the most underwhelming evolution in the world to one of the most ugly Pokemon in the world. Because this thing is not cute. I do not think this thing is cute. And I think it makes it less cute because it's trying to be cute. If it was like this badass, like if it had angry eyebrows, for example, and maybe like giant electric fist, I'd be like, that's kind of cool, actually, I'm not gonna lie. I don't need it to be cute. I don't want it to be cute because you tried to make this thing cute and it made it look horrifying. And I do not appreciate that, and I do not like that. And honestly, they could have just done so much better with Palmy too. Like, Pawmi's not a terrible design. You could have done so much more with it. Number 6 is Swanna. I've talked about Ducklet earlier. But now I get to talk about why Swanna is irredeemable garbage. Swanna is so bland, so generic, it puts Flamigo and Ducklet in the highest of tiers as, like, the best of the best Pokemon. Look at how creative this Flamingo is. Look at how creative this Duck is. Compared to Swanna, it's a swan! There is no unique attributes about this Pokemon whatsoever. It is a swan, and its name is Swanna. I'm sorry, could you be any less creative? Swanna? Come on, even Ducklet is more creative, because at least Ducklet is a cute name. I don't get anything out of saying Swanna. And the design is terrible. When your Pokemon is just an animal, it fails at being a Pokemon. This is not something I want to be in a fantasy world with. I could go to a local pond and find a Swanna there, because they're just swans. It's so stupid. And not only that, it doesn't end there. This is one of the most forgettable Pokemon that came from one of the most forgettable hit-or-miss generations that Pokemon has done. And it's just Swanna. I don't like Swanna. And after all that, that is only my 6th least favorite Pokemon. Yes, you heard that right. Number 5 is Chingling. Oh my god, Chingling. I've talked about baby Pokemon so much in my bottom 100, if you haven't seen that. But this is by far the most pointless Pokemon, because not only is Chimecho in my bottom 100 Pokemon, but I've talked about how Chimecho deserves so much more, because Chimecho is a redeemable design. And what do they decide to do with Chimecho? They give it a baby? Not only a baby, though. A baby that is a bell. It's just a bell. It is not cute at all. But it's not even, like, ugly cute. It's not even like Palmot, who is, like, disgustingly, horrifyingly cute. It's just, like, not cute. I look at it and I'm like, oh, it's Chingling. And that fails because the point of a baby Pokemon is to be a cuter version of the Pokemon that came before it. And I don't know what went through their head. They were like, let's just give a baby Pokemon to Chimecho. Why? Why was that what you thought of? In this Pokemon, we have all these new evolutions of Pokemon that deserve it, like Yanma to Yanmega, Gligar to Gliscor, all these Pokemon that deserve new evolutions. And honestly, the rest of the babies from Gen 4, Munchlax, Riolu, even Bonsly and Mantike, which is in my bottom 100, I could see why they exist. But Chingling? No! Why? And like with the other baby in my top 10, Tyrogue, at least you get something cool out of Tyrogue. The Hitmons are all cool. Tyrogue may be an abomination, but the Hitmons are cool. Chingling, you go through all the effort to evolve it, and you get Chimecho, and nothing else. Chimecho, as I've already mentioned, is one of the weakest and worst Pokemon ever. So you evolve a Chingling only to get a Chimecho, which is completely pointless. And Chingling just has nothing. Nothing good going for it. And it is one of the most hated Pokemon ever. And good. I agree. It's my number 5 least favorite Pokemon. Good. Yeah. Keep hating Chingling. It deserves all the hate. Number 4 is Ice-Q. I hate this stupid thing so much. Ice-Q is so stupid. Ice-Q like Ice Cube. Okay, at least it's a punny name. I get it. But it just has a bad, dumb, and stupid design. It's just a penguin with an ice cube on its head. And it gets even worse when you get the no ice face, because that makes it make no sense biologically. How come when you break away the ice, it becomes this little ice sphere thing underneath the giant ice head? Like, I would get it if you unfroze the ice head and it was just a regular penguin, maybe with some cool ice features or something, like ice eyebrows, like an emperor penguin kind of thing. But no, you have to give it this dumb, stupid little face design. I don't know, I just really can't stand Ice-Q, because not only is it so fucking stupid, but it's also surprisingly decent in battle. You can use like Belly Drum and Ice Face strategies, and it can wipe you if you're not careful. Which, why? Why did you give this cool ability to Ice-Q, the stupid penguin? Why did you make Ice-Q? You can make a penguin Pokemon so much cooler, and you choose to make Ice-Q a dumb penguin with ice on its head? Like, no, that is so stupid and so dumb, it makes me want to throw it off a cliff, Super Mario 64 style. Number 3 is Snubbull. Snubbull is completely irredeemably ugly, which is the worst part because it's based off a bulldog. which bulldogs for many people are cute, and other people they are very ugly. But somehow, Pokemon managed to do neither, and just made it straight up ugly. I don't see how anybody could like this design, because it's like a pink dress-wearing little dog, which is just like, no, why? That's not, no, I hate it. I hate it so much. Ugh, I just hate everything about it. I hate the design, I hate the color scheme, I hate the name Snubbull, like a snub bull. Like, come on. I just hate Snubbull, and it may seem like I like this more than like ICQ, Chingling, or Swanna, that I've had many negative things to say about it. But no, Snubbull is my third least favorite Pokemon. I just don't know how to put my hatred for it in words. And with that, the second and first slot of this video need to go together because they are an evolution line. And I'm actually going to skip to number one. Number one, my number one least favorite Pokemon of all time, of all 1,000 of them, is Murkrow. And you're like, Murkrow? Like the little crow guy? I could see Snubbull or Chingling, but why Murkrow? Oh, believe me, I'll tell you why Murkrow. So we'll go back to Honchkrow. Murkrow is ugly. It is one of the ugliest Pokemon, yes, even uglier than Pawmot, even uglier than Snubbull, because it is a dumb crow. Crows are cool animals in real life. We've had Corviknight before, which is a cool metal crow. So why, when I look at Corviknight, which is a Pokemon I adore, compared to a Pokemon like Murkrow, that's a dumb, stupid crow with a dumb, stupid hat on, why would I ever like it? Not only that, I don't care for dark types that much, as you've seen with Umbreon and many others up to this point. So why would I like the dumb dark bird? I don't. Also, to add insult to injury, it is a pain in the ass to catch. So when I had to fill up my Pokedex, and I see one in the wild, or like in Scarlet and Violet, when they run up to me and initiate a battle, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll catch it, and they break out of all my balls, it makes me even more mad. That's probably why I'm sick right now, probably why I'm dying, is because of my hatred for Murkrow. And now, recently, even after I've done that Gen 2 video where I talked about in depth why I hate Murkrow so much, it's thriving in competitive doubles. And that makes me so mad, because I hate Murkrow, and I don't want it to have any success whatsoever. So the fact that it has Prankster and Tailwind and all these good things going for it, I would rather have any of the other 98 Pokemon in my bottom 100 have competitive success than Murkrow. I would rather see freaking Jinx be good and competitive than Murkrow. I just don't like Murkrow. There is nothing good going for it. It is annoying. It has a bad name. Murkrow really couldn't have done anything better than that. I don't like crows. It's dumb. It's stupid. It has an awful shiny. The pink shiny does not look good. I do not care what you say. And I hate Murkrow. Anyways, number 2 is Honchkrow. Honchkrow, take everything I said about Murkrow and give it 0.1 point in its favor because its design isn't Murkrow. It gets 0.1 point from me because it isn't Murkrow. It has the exact same flaws as Murkrow. It's ugly, it's bland, it's a dark type, it's dumb, it's a mob boss, I don't care, it's a stupid crow. And honestly, I hate it because it even exists. Why did Murkrow even need to get an evolution? And why did you make it bad? Honchkrow, I would have been happier if it didn't even exist. And the only reason it's my second least favorite Pokemon is because it does exist. And if they ever give these two stupid Pokemon any forms in the future, I will be the first ones to hate them because I do not like the Murkrow line. Okay, that's it. That's all my 100 Pokemon. Obviously, I played up a little bit of played up my reaction to him a little bit. Like Murkrow, yes, I hate it, but I wouldn't go to say that I absolutely despise it to hell or anything like that. Like I wouldn't go that far because at the end of the day, they're all Pokemon. These Pokemon designs are completely subjective to your own opinion. If you like Murkrow, cool, good for you. I don't, but you might, and I get that. And with that, I think we can wrap down here. Thank you all for watching. Whether it's the bottom 10 Pokemon or the top 100 Pokemon, I do appreciate each and every one of you who stuck through this hour and 14-minute Pokemon long video with me. I didn't expect it to take this long, not gonna lie. The script took like a week to write, and it's just bullet notes. That's the worst part. But I also am old-fashioned, like to do it on paper, so that I also could have something to do with it. But yeah, there's going to be a separate video for the bottom 10 coming in the next week. If you don't really want to watch all 100, I get that. You can honestly just scroll through the video and see my tier list placings, and that works just as fine. Come back next time for the true finale of the series where I do all my top 100 best Pokemon. I don't know if it's going to be 100. We'll see how I do that one. But for now, that's my bottom 100/bottom 10 Pokemon. Thank you all very much for watching. I'm going to go eat and take a nap because I still feel like garbage. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you all in my next video. Take care of yourself. Mental health is important. And ta-ta for now.